Everyone, this is Ben again with the Tiger's Den, coming at you with some more Magic the Gathering Arena content. Hope you've been well since the last time we saw you. It was a busy week, but now it's the weekend and we are ready to play some more Magic. So let's get that started. Do we have sound? Yes, we have sound. Good. I'm just playing a practice match against Sparky here to make sure my levels were okay. Of course, let us know if I'm still working on camera, lighting, sound levels, all that stuff. So let us know in the comments if anything's too high, too low, if if that gleaming spot on my forehead that the green screen takes out crops up again, stuff like that. I'm still learning how to get all this stuff put together and looking and sounding as good as it can. So always happy to hear feedback. So enough of that. Let's get on to the Magic. As the stream title indicates, we're going to be doing a little bit of brewing today. Well, okay, that's a little bit of a lie. The brewing has already been done, but as you may know, brewing is a continuous process. So we covered this a little bit last time. Just gave a little bit of a preview of this deck. So this is a Grixis Beatdown deck that I'm working on. We've got most of the cards here. We just need to make these Knights of the Ebon Legion and couple of Moment of Cravings for the sideboard, but that's a common, so who cares? I did get some more packs opened, so you can see we've got some rare wild cards there, and we even hit the vault here, so we get some more out of there in a little bit. But I'm actually keeping it here for now because I'm interested in watching the vault progress per pack, and you can't do that unless your vault is ready to open, because I'm a little bit neurotic. So anyway, a little bit of background on this before we get into the gameplay. My main Magic background for the last, I don't know, since Khans of Tarkir, I guess, whenever that was, like 2014, maybe, somewhere around there. I've mostly been playing modern Magic and paper. And one of my favorite decks, I like the tempo style decks, like your old Delver and that sort of thing. But Delver hasn't really been much of a thing for a while in modern. So Delver being where you play Delver of Secrets, which costs 1 mana. Hopefully the next turn you can transform it into a 3/2 flyer, and then you're just ahead on the board. You can spend all of your mana countering your opponent's spells, bouncing their threats, playing Snapcaster Mage, which of course the Snapcaster Monolith Geist of St. Traff Vapor Snag Delver of Secrets meta back during Innistrad Standard, which was of course the best meta that has ever existed in Standard of all time. Fight me. Decks like that. So I kind of wanted to try a similar thing here in Standard. Now we don't have anything that's quite on the level of Delver of Secrets or anything near Snapcaster Mage in Standard. But we do have some cards that are kind of similar and kind of advance a similar game plan. So this isn't as much tempo as it is maybe disruptive aggro. So what it kind of is more reminiscent of, if you're going to come from a modern perspective, is Humans and Death's Shadow. So Death Shadow is another deck that I really like, and Humans is one of my current decks that I've been playing a lot of. So what we have here is we have basically these cheap but powerful threats, some of which are maybe not of as great power, but I want to try them out and see how it goes. Booyadling. Cheap, hopefully powerful threats, lots of disruption on the cheap, and then just a really aggressive clock, hopefully, with some value stapled to it. So to that end, we're going to be playing Knight of the Ebon Legion, which is the most powerful, I would say, one-drop in the format. There are, of course, other creatures that are great, like Spectral Sailor, Llanowar Elves, obviously being probably the premier one. But this guy is a really powerful beater, costs 1 mana. Can't say enough about him. And we have cards like Dreadhorde Butcher, which of course we've played a lot of in our Rakdos Aristocrats deck. Thought Erasure, which is one of the reasons we're playing blue, along with Thief of Sanity. We also have this Kitesail Freebooter here, which I mentioned Humans in Modern earlier, and Kitesail Freebooter is usually played as a 4 of, or at least has been in previous builds. Now it's moving away from that a little bit. But this is an interesting card because it's a 1/2 flyer for 2 mana, so it's not that aggressive, but it effectively is a discard spell for us. It lets us take the best non-creature, non-land card from their hand, which most decks will have, while giving us a 1/2 flyer. Now the downside of this, of course, is that if they kill the freebooter, they get their card back. But in a situation where they only have 1 removal spell, we can take that, and then this is just on the board and they can't get rid of it until they draw another removal spell. Or if they do have more removal, that means that we can take their best removal spell, or rather take their second best removal spell, make them use their best removal spell on the Kitesail Freebooter, and then all of our other bigger threats there's one less removal spell that can be pointed at them. We also have Thought Erasure, of course, to make them discard their removal spells. We have Knight of the Ebon Legion on 1, which is a huge removal magnet. We also have Thief of Sanity, which I would probably go up to 3, but I want to see how it performs before I spend wild cards on it. So we're really just trying to strip their hand of all of their answers and their biggest threats, and then just hit it turn after turn after turn. Be on the aggressive side. That's why we have these haste threats. And then, whatever they stick, hopefully these removal spells are enough to get us through there. We also have the Tyrant Scorn in here, which I have been liking less lately, but I think is alright here because we're more aggressive, and often just bouncing a larger creature, I think, might be enough to get us there. And also there are some cases where, they go to Legions and your Knight of the Ebon Legion, you Tyrant Scorn your Knight of the Ebon Legion, put it back in your hand, fizzle their spell. They don't get to look at your hand. They don't get to take all your other Knights of the Ebon Legion. You just play it again next turn. Strong plays like that. So anyway, all that we have left to make here are these 4 cards. We're going to go ahead, finish that deck up. And a nice thing about this is that not many of these cards are going to rotate in the near future. Lightning Strike will, unless it gets a reprint, will rotate. Kite Sail Freebooter, which is really a cute addition and we may take out anyways. And then pretty much everything else is going to be staying around. We do have probably 2 cute cards in the sideboard. This Dreadhorde Invasion is just kind of a sticky threat that we hopefully don't mind the life loss, and then we can just get a new creature every turn, keep pressuring them, tax their removal. And then the Davriel Rogue Shadow Mage, just because we're stripping cards out of their hand anyways, so the passive might actually be relevant. And, when your opponent is playing kind of a value game and trying to answer you 1 for 1, just sticking a Davriel and making them discard a couple of times, or making them discard once and then eating a removal spell when we have our board built up for blockers, hopefully. Seems like that could be all right. So, throw them in the sideboard. We're probably not going to do best of 3 today because I just want to do best of 1s and see how this works. And we probably won't play this deck the whole day. We will probably switch on to something else at some point, or, keep going back in and changing things around. So anyway, let's do it. Let's see how it goes. I have only brewed one other deck in Standard, and that is or at least without, heavy reference. And that's the Aggro Elementals deck we've been running. So I don't have a whole lot of experience with this, so we're just going to try it out, see how it goes. Hopefully we'll learn a lot along the way. We're lacking blue, which is a major weakness of this deck, that we're in 3 colors. We can cast... I don't think we can cast enough of this hand, even on the draw. So we're just going to mulligan that, see if we can get better. This looks spicy. I'm actually tempted to put a land back here because we top out at 3 anyways. So let's see, this is blue-black, this is blue-red. We're mostly blue and black, so we're going to go Watery Grave into Dragon Skull Summit here. So we can cast all these cards for just 2, and there's another land, so that'll be nice when we want to start double spelling. Does anyone want to bet whether or not we're going to have a Thought Erasure right now? Yep, there it is. Well, fortunately, the best card in our hand is Dreadhorde Butcher, and we've got 2 of them, so don't even care. That said, I think we're going to lead on Freebooter here, so that we can take a look at what's going on. It's not as aggressive, but our opponent's playing a really long-term control-y... Oh, nice. We will take... Come on. Take that card, the Carnarium, out of there. That actually makes me feel like they played that wrong and should have taken the Freebooter. Because we play Dreadhorde Butcher, swing... Oh wait, no, we would have a 3 toughness Dreadhorde Butcher by the time, because of the haste. So never mind, that was probably fine of them. The problem here is going to be that they have 2 Nicol Bolas the Ravager, which is going to outbig our side really badly, and cause us to discard, and we don't have any of our removal for it right now. So we're just going to do this, do this. I'm going to guess that this kind of really high attrition deck is going to be one of our worst matchups. But we'll see how it plays out. We're going to keep, even if we could play a land there, we probably would have wanted to hold it in our hand, because they're going to make us discard here. And it will be nice to keep the Tyrant Scorn around. Now, it looks like they're actually going to remove our Dreadhorde Butcher instead, because they're eyeing it really closely here. I hope that chat's working all right here. I'm getting an invalid parameters error in Streamlabs, but hopefully that's just on my end. All right, they play the Nicol Bolas. We discard the Steam Vents. Ooh, and we top deck Knight of the Ebon Legion. Okay, so right now, we want to hold back Freebooter, but Knight and Dreadhorde Butcher can both trade with Bolas. So I think we go on with both. I assume they'll block Dreadhorde Butcher, but that means that they're taking a bunch of damage off of Knight. They can then, of course, play the next Nicol Bolas, but we'll put out the... Oh, yeah, we'll probably just drop the Tyrant Scorn. Bouncing Nicol Bolas, of course, is a terrible value proposition unless you're empty-handed. Okay, I believe that's the correct call. We will pump Knight. Do we even want to kill their Nicol Bolas? That does take 4 damage off the board for them, and it makes them play out their next one, and then hopefully if we get something that can deal with their Bolas. I actually don't remember exactly what our removal speed is in here, so that might be completely incorrect. But, because, I mean, let's see, I know we've got Legion's End, we've got, which obviously doesn't hit Bolas, hits very little in their deck probably. We've got some burn spells, so we can, you know, double up on burn or something. Should probably just, you know, have printed out a deck list or something before I started this, but, you know, we'll just learn together. We'll learn together what we got. Yep, there's the next Nicol Bolas. Discard Tyrant Scorn. Go with Knight of the Ebon Legion again, and you can see here how powerful this Knight of the Ebon Legion has been. Okay, so we can either... I think I like not pumping here. Getting in for 2. Playing Freebooter. Getting another look at their hand. Ooh, okay, so if they play... This is tricky, because all of these spells represent killing off either Freebooter, which is the problem that we're going to run into here, is that they have so much removal. So, let's see, if we take... Vraska's Contempt is probably their, well, next to Nicol Bolas, which they can't play yet. So I'm probably going to take their Vraska's Contempt, because they gain life off of that. Actually, we're just going to take the Bolas. That'll buy us the most time. That draws up very poorly for us overall, but at least this turn they cannot, unless they top deck another one, just go Cry of the Carnarium, kill off our Knight while it's at a 1-2. So we will see if our aggro gets there. Losing that, being on the draw here and then losing our Dreadhorde Butcher is a, to the Thought Erasure, it's a big deal. But oh, they actually don't do anything. Well, I suppose they can play at instant speed. So I don't think anything they can do at instant speed really punishes us here. So let's just go like this. Really sucks that they have these flyers in here. Okay, so they're going to make us pump, but that's probably going to mean that they use the removal spell on this guy, which I'm fine with. Because I want to be drawing out... Because they've got the removal spell either way, and this way they're not getting back their Nicol Bolas. Even though we're not getting in for much damage. Yeah, we're one Cry of the Carnarium away from getting totally blown out here. Try refreshing the chat and see what that does. Okay, well they got our Tyrant Scorn, which isn't doing much here. I mean, we could always do cute things like pick up a Freebooter in response to their removal, which hopefully taps them down too low for them to cast the card that was underneath it, and then replay the Freebooter and take it again, or take another card. And there's a decent reason to have Tyrant Scorn in here, I suppose, even though in a match with, you know, seeing no creatures but Nicol Bolas, the Ravager, that doesn't line up terribly well. Alright, so just going to swing here. We really could use one more land. As you've been seeing here, our putting that land back has not been great for us. Alright, so let's go. 3 attacks. We are going to pump. I was expecting something there, but they might be sandbagging this Bedevil for when they draw... Oh, but they would want to cast that on our turn, obviously. Because then if they draw the land, they can just cast the Nicol Bolas instead of being tapped down. Fortunately, that pump did put our Knight of the Ebon Legion at 2-3, which means that it will survive Cry of the Carnarian, but of course will not survive Bedevil, which we knew they had, and which will just kill our guy. Okay, well here's an interesting thing. Let's turn their Nicol Bolas into a 2-4 without flying, unless they have negate, of course, in which case we're just super sad. Yeah, they got it. I really wanted to see that happen. No attacks. We are super disadvantaged now. Their top decks are way more powerful than ours. Like that, for instance. We do have 2 points of burn in hand, so we can hit them for 3 damage at the moment. They whiff on Narset, it looks like, so that's really good for us. There's that land we've been wanting for a long time. We probably should have kept that in hand. Oh, because if they make us discard, we just cast the shock. Oops, not all attack. Clicking too fast. Clicking too fast has never come back to bite us, right, chat? That's never happened before. How if you whip again? That would be awesome. Cast down is not a whiff. Catsail Freebooter is unfortunately not a legendary creature. Of course, you couldn't have 2 out if it was a legendary, and that would be really weird. Oh, and they just have the Bolas. Okay, so we are just going to give them the good game and scoop it up. I'd say all things considered, that was better than I expected. The Kitesail Freebooters are a lot weaker when there's that much removal. It's great when they have a couple of removal spells. It's not great when their entire hand is removal and Nicol Bolas. That's pretty tough. And it could be that that's not a very good card here, and of course getting walled by the Nicol Bolas. You could see if they didn't have a blocker there how much chip damage we could have done with those guys. So I think it's definitely something worth experimenting with. I haven't really played Standard when they've been around until about or a little before War of the Spark era, so I'm not sure what the meta looked like before then. If it got played in like the Pirates decks or whatever. We don't have turn 1 Knight of the Ebon Legion here, but this is still a really powerful hand. So I'm actually going to shock in the Steam Vents. And because in a match where they don't have anything we want to kill on turn 1, our life total is likely less important. And it looks like we're going to get rewarded with a juicy... Oh, okay, this is the Merfolk deck. Well, at least I'm assuming that's what it is. I don't think that gets played anywhere else. So we will just make the most efficient use of our mana here. Play Stormkin. Go in 2. It might have been better to go Knight next turn, because if we got another land, we could go attack with Knight, get it pumped. What even? I don't even know what we're seeing. But I like spending all of our mana there, because that lets us do things like this, where we pay 2 life. We're just going to go in and attack. Okay, okay, so that guy loots when it's adapted. So we'll go in. We could shock opponent and grow our Knight of the Ebon Legion, which might actually be good. Or we could play a second Knight of the Ebon Legion. But the Merfolk deck is actually pretty aggressive, and they have a lot of lords, so I think I actually want to spend my mana here, just take out their creatures, be really efficient with spending as much mana as we can per turn to get as much done as possible. Man, that island looks nice. Alright, there's another Kumena's Speaker, and there's the Mistbinder. Really important card in their deck. We will not block. Ooh, I think we're just going to Legions on right now. Actually, maybe we... I think I like just getting rid of the Mistbinder right now, seeing if they have another one in their hand we can get rid of. Yep, so that was really good for us. And they scoop! So that wasn't the most meta deck we just played against, but that is pretty much how we drew it up. You know, we want to be playing cheap Disruption, and we want to be double spelling really often with these really cheap threats and really efficient removal spells. And then just hope that we get ahead of our opponent to the point where they can't recover. And getting that 2-for-1 there, of course, was back-breaking for them. we'll keep this 7. We have no turn 1, which is unfortunate, but we only have 7 1-mana cards, so, you know, that's going to happen. Alright, well, we drew a 1-drop, so looks like we're probably getting Thought Erasured again. Oh, no Thought Erasure, okay. So I think I want to Erasure here before we commit any more threats to the board. And I think I'm going to swing first. Because if they want to remove this guy, they'll do it in response to the Thought Erasure anyways. So I might as well, since this isn't going to change what we do. Okay, so they got Cry, Kefnik, commence the end game. Okay. I think we're leaving that because that's a long ways off. We're taking... So they can't Cry with what's in their hand. And if they do, I feel okay with that. So I think I'm going to take the... boy, Sinister Sabotage and double Kefnet. Kefnet's going to be really hard for us. I think we're going to take the Sabotage. Get rid of that. Yeah, it might have actually been right to take the Kefnet and then, in a couple turns, flash back the Thought Erasure with Chandra. Do the same thing again. Alright, so they can Cry next turn. So I think I like playing the Freebooter, taking the Cry the Carnarium. Hopefully next turn we'll draw a 2-drop and we can play 2 cards. Get rid of that guy. Play this tap because we have nothing to do with the mana this turn. And going for 1. So Tyrant Scorn is actually pretty decent here. Because if we get another land next turn, we can cast it again and just keep getting in there. So I think that's what we're going to do here. Although, they don't have many relevant cards in hand, so maybe we yeah, no, I like saving the Chandra for when we can flash something back immediately. So let's just bounce Kefnet, keep him from getting that value. Play Dreadhorde Butcher, feel sad that we can't get in for that last point of damage to grow Knight of the Ebon Legion, but, you know, what can you do? Drawing a land here would be great so that we can Chandra and then flashback Thought Erasure. There's a land. Or, flashback, you know, not Thought Erasure, but Tyrant Scorn. Which I think we'll do. And we'll just try to be aggressive and get in there before they can stabilize. Return. Pay. Get in for 4, and now notably, if they block Knight of the Ebon Legion or Dreadhorde Butcher, we can just kill their Kefnet. Now I assume they're going to do a commence the endgame here, if they have the land for it. Because that'll get them, but again, actually no, because that'll actually be a 6/6, won't it? Because they'll play a land, they'll go to 4, they'll play commence the endgame, go up to 5 guys. So that'll be a 5/5, so we can still do the same thing with their commence the endgame token, if they indeed can play it this turn, which seems they cannot. So I think we probably... So let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Okay, so we can... okay, 6 mana, 1, 2, 3, 4... Okay, so we... I think we Thought Erasure them. Get rid of commence the endgame. We won't be able to replay the Chandra this turn, but... Or play the next Chandra, rather. But I'm okay with that. If, I mean, if we want to, pump Knight of the Ebon Legion, which we probably want to. Alright, so let's get rid of commence the endgame, because that's going to be really good for them. I don't like the Stormkin with this flyer on the board. Man, these big flyers have been an issue for us in the 2 games we've played so far, or 3 games we've played so far. Okay, so we can either Chandra and make some tokens and swing, but I like being able to pump Knight of the Ebon Legion. I don't think I'm going with Dreadhorde Butcher right here, because they have another Kefnet in hand. So we'll just go, this costs 3, right? Yes, so we'll go next. Next, go in with Knight. I'd actually love it if they block. They do not. Pump. We know they can't cast the cast down right now. Okay. So now they're kind of priced into... they're kind of priced into getting something like playing the cast down, killing the knight. We can, if we run Dreadhorde Butcher into their Kefnet, plus play Chandra, that's 5 damage total, so that brings them to 2. So they're in a pretty tough spot right now. Let's sandbag the land for now, because it's not going to do anything relevant. Alright, they was finished sabotage there. Yeah, well, there's nothing we can do about that, really, except for wait for another card. Okay, so in that case, they have another Kefnet in hand, so I think we're going to stay back, unfortunately. And it looks like we're just going to get walled by this flyer again. Oh, okay, well that's super good for them. Getting that commence the endgame. So that's 4-4. And they'll probably just be able to start grinding us out now with the Kefnet. So it's possible that the right line was to start ripping their Kefnets out of their hand. What did we go for instead? Oh yeah, we got rid of their counter spells. And now we've actually drawn way too many lands here, so we're going to be way behind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we've drawn more lands than the drawing extra cards for free deck, along with surveilling some stuff away. So I think we can just assume they've got this, and we'll go on to the next one. Alright, so the big weakness we've identified here so far is just the weakness versus these big beefy flyers, which... it seems a little anomalous to me that we've seen seen double Nicol Bolas into double Kefnet, because I'm not seeing that much of either of them. Definitely more Kefnet. So maybe we want to try to find ways of dealing with them in the main deck, like running a couple of Bedevils, which currently we have 2 in the sideboard, but maybe that's a main deck inclusion. We're going first. This hand looks amazing. We pretty much couldn't ask for a better looking hand if we just want to put on tons of pressure. So let's see what our opponent's got. And of course, Luke After Dark is on the draw here, so that gives us a really nice window of opening, or window of opportunity rather, to get in for some damage. Alright, they go Godless Shrines. They could be on Esper, they could be on Vampires. I feel pretty good about Vampire. Okay, that's Esper. With the Legion end, I'd feel pretty good about Vampires. Okay, and here goes Chandra. Bye, Chandra. Would have been great to resolve you. But Thought Erasure was going to say no to that. But, you know, we can't complain. We played a lot of Thought Erasures ourselves in this deck. Alright, so this turn, we're just going to go next, all attack. 2 attackers. Buff Knight. Take him to 12, have a 3-3 and a 2-3. Which can hit him for 5, so we're representing 8 damage right now, plus 2 from this, so that's 10. So we have them at 2 effectively if they don't do anything, which... You know, I don't think that Esper usually does much. They sort of just, a lot of air in their deck, not many cards that interact with the board, anything like that. Oh shoot, look, they had it. Imagine that. Okay, so I think our play here is... I hate letting them have all these instant sorcery speed cards played at instant speed. So... it feels bad to lose the damage, but I think I go at Teferi. Especially because if they have removal for Dreadhorde Butcher, then... well, I guess we could kill Teferi in that case, but... Alright, so we're going to shock in here. We're going to play the Knight that they know about. We're going to play the Muyan Ling. We're going to plus her. Submit 0. Notably, this is up to 1 target creature. Gets -2/-0 and loses flying, so we can select no creatures. Best card for them is definitely Kaya's Wrath here, which they got it. Of course they do. But this still hits them for 4. And now we can get out a 4/4. Could be possible to run out the shock here, but that's not going to change the clock at the moment because they're at 8. I don't think they have any... So we could actually bounce the token to stop them from gaining the 2 life, but I don't think that's a good play. Especially, well, they have Kaya's Wrath, so they're probably not on Hero of Precinct 1, But yeah, there's a possibility that if they were on hero, that would be good. As it is, that's probably not a very good card for us. So you can see, again, we're versus a mono removal deck, which, as I mentioned, is probably one of the worst things we can run into. Bellhunt's really good for them. I think we'll just discard the Legion's End. Oops. So yeah, they're gaining more life here. They're making us... Well, it was mostly a dead card, so that's not a huge deal. Notably, this is another card that's terrible versus Bounce. We're going to sandbag the Blood Crypt, I think, because, you know, just more discard for future Bellhunts. And I think I'm going to plus Moo, because that means that they can take her... They can take her to 4 here, but then she survives making another token. Well, of course, then they can... Oh, but then we'll have a 4/4 for the block. Ooh, another one. Yikes, this is so punishing. But again, that's why we sandbagged the Blood Crypt. It would have been really great if they didn't have another creature here, and we could just... we could be pretty guaranteed to stabilize Moo after she makes her token. But also, I mean, look at all the life they've gained here. They've gone from, I think, what they were at 8 to 16 in the last couple of turns, so that's really bad for us. However, we can make a birdie, play a Thief of Sanity, and assuming that we could keep our Moo alive, this is a really great combo because she can take flying off of creatures to help our Thief of Sanity get in. It's a nifty interaction. And Thief is actually really good against this deck if it sticks around. I doubt that it will. Yep, they're just going to go ahead and probably tuck the Thief, I imagine. They would rather not have that on the table. I think I'm going to put that back in my hand. Alright, they're going to sack a Basilica Bellhunt into our token. So this token actually did really well for us, or the Moo. She faded a little damage, but she also made 2 tokens, one of which ate a removal spell, one of which ate a Bellhunt, and now is pressuring them. So I think I'm just going to shock the Teferi here. And then I'm going to play the Thief of Sanity, make sure that we keep up black for Knight. Now, notably, Knight doesn't have to be on the battlefield in order to get buffed when the damage is dealt. It checks for the damage at the end of the turn, at the beginning of my end step. So as long as we play it, as long as it's on the table by that point. Oh man, just bomb after bomb here. I assume that they yeah, bounce the token so it dies entirely. They probably have something for Thief of Sanity, because they have a redraw, they have 3 mana, they have 4 cards in hand. Well, Narset doesn't actually do it for him necessarily. Finds another big Teferi. Yeah, this is really hard to deal with. Okay, so we will go ahead and swing with everything. We're just going to go at their face. This doesn't... Yeah, combat damage to a player. I'll give them the extra. They have so much card advantage, I don't think it matters if we... if they get that card, we just want to go as much as we can here. Oh, command the Dreadhorde, you say? That might actually be a way back into this game for us. So we're going to do that. We're going to play a Watery Grave. We're actually going to pay the 2 here, strangely. Because that means that if they cast Oath of Kaya, targeting Knight of the Ebon Legion, we can pump it. That's a very narrow line, and it probably won't happen, but it's probably worth it. Oh, cast the Kaya's Wrath, 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 cast the Kaya's Wrath. Do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it. Do it, opponent. You know you want to wipe the board clean. Don't do this Teferi, tuck one guy, take a bunch of damage, let me get your cards. Search for Azcanta, they still have... Oh, come on. Oh, this could be really great. Are they doing it? Are they doing it? Alright, I'm going to sit on the Thought Erasure. I assume they're going to do this well, during our combat step, effectively, because I don't think they want to take this hit off of Thief of Sanity. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, come on. Okay, so we have 14 life, so it might have been right for us not to shock that in. But we didn't. I don't think we knew they had that Kaya's Wrath there. I think they got that off of Narset there, so we didn't know they were going to have a board wipe. So, okay, so we're going to go 5 for Big Teferi, 3 for Narset probably. So that's 8, puts us at 6, and then okay. So that's 5. I don't think... Well, actually, Basilica Bellhound only loses us 1 life, so let's do both of those. 5, 6, 7, 8. We can't... I don't think we want to do more than that, though, because we need to not die. Because this trigger will go on the stack, and if we're dead, we're dead. So that's 5, 9, 10, maybe 12... Okay, so this is like maximum greed, but I think, actually I like getting this night. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 5 is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We have 1, we gain 3, we go to 4, that keeps us out of Oath of Kaya range. They discard Traz Kanta. We will tuck their... Actually, probably just plus here. Oh, right, they have Narset in play. Haha. Notably, we took a ton of damage there, so these guys get bigger. Untap these 2 lands, probably. Unfortunately, because we didn't have enough life to get a little Teferi, we can't instant speed Thought Erasure them there, which would be great. Alright, they transfer them at Skanta, so that's great for them. I guess we could have done Little Teferi Bounce as Kanta, but I don't know how to play Command the Dreadhorde, guys. Alright, they despark our Teferi, so that feels bad because we actually didn't get any value out of them because I forgot they had a Narset. Alright, Teferi Hero of Dominaria, probably Tux Knight of the Ebon Legion. So how much damage are we representing here? With 1 hit, so that's 1, 4, 5, 6, plus 2 activations. They're just dead on board if they don't have anything here. Alright, they go tapped land, so they untap 2 here. Notably, they're off of Azcanta activation. So we can't do double pumps and cast Thought Erasure. And if we Thought Erasure them, they probably cast something at instant speed because of Little Teferi. So I think the correct play is just to swing everything at their face. They are not representing Kaya's Wrath here, because they're 1 mana short. Also, they only have a single black, and only a single white if they tap their black. Okay, they're way off of Kaya's Wrath, is the point. Okay, so we go all tax. Looks like they might pull the trigger prematurely here. Yep, okay, they wanted to wait until we pumped. Because now we can pump this guy twice. Alright, we did it! Woo, boy. That was a bit of a roller coaster, I'm not gonna lie. Stealing your opponent's Command the Dreadhorde when they're not really pressuring your life total is apparently really good. Chemist's Insight's a really cool card. It's usually run in really obnoxious decks, but it's a really cool card. Although, I mean, some decks that run it are really cool, like, I like the Spellslingery, Drakesy, Phoenixy decks, stuff like that. Actually, let's cancel the search here if we can. Let's take a look at the deck for a second. So far we've seen that Planeswalkers can be tough, although not that bad sometimes because we have a fair amount of board pressure here. But it's those big flyers that are really the issue. So, what do you say if we cut maybe one freebooter, and maybe one of the Tyrant Scorns. And we'll try bringing in these two Bedevils to the main deck. I left that out at first because we want it to be a little bit lower on the curve here. And I won't worry about filling in the sideboard. Excuse me. I did like what Tyrant Scorn let us do there with either killing things or picking up our own stuff. That was pretty cool. Also with there being lots of, you know, like not Command the Red Horde, but Enter the God Eternals tokens out there, that sort of thing. You know, I can see that having additional value. It kills Feather notably, which is important. Or if they have a indestructibility spell, you know, it can bounce if need be, that sort of thing. I get really dry when I talk, so I like to have a carbonated beverage of some sort. I've been told that I swallow really loud. I apologize if that's picking up. Let me know in the comments if you would like me to mute myself when I take a sip. Opponent goes first. Our hand is gas. This is pure gas. We're probably going to get turn 2 Thought Erasure like we have pretty much every game so far, but I don't even care. They can't take both. I guess we're not... Okay, we're just going to get beat down by a turn 3 7/6 apparently instead. We have double red in hand, so I want to lead on the Blood Crypt, which gives us half of Thought Erasure and all of Knight of the Ebon Legion. Fortunately, it looks like they're probably going to play their... Oh, they don't have red land. Alright, well they find unclaimed territory. What do you say we take a look at their hand and find their best card and get rid of it forever? I think their best card here is actually the Regisaur Alpha. We can bounce the token with Tyrant Scorn, but we can kill this guy. Shifting Ceratops... Okay, granted, Shifting Ceratops is a beating because it can get Vigilance. Yeah, I guess we take the Ceratops because we don't really have a good way of killing it other than, you know, the couple of cards we just put in. If they get to Galta mana, we're just dead. I really like Knight of the Ebon Legion on top here because that lets us play Mountain, play Knight of the Ebon Legion, Tyrant Scorn their, I mean, whatever they play on 3, or unless they play another Commune with Dinosaurs. Okay, I guess they're just digging really hard for Rotting Regisaur, which we can also kill. So I guess the play here, actually, is... If we were one turn ahead, we could play Knight of the Ebon Legion, pump Knight of the Ebon Legion, get both Knights of the Ebon Legion pumped. Fortunately, we can kill their Regisaur with Tyrant Scorn. And also... Ooh, okay, so if they play... I assume they're going to play... Okay, they go with Marauding Raptor, which also lets them play Regisaur. That's cool, we can actually kill both of them this turn. Ooh, we also have Legion's End, though. Okay, so what we're going to do... Put into thinking, because I'm going to think about how to sequence this. We want... you'll need 1 blue this turn. Okay, but this gives us 2 blue anyway, so we'll pay 2 life. I think we want to Legion's End the Marauding Raptor, and then Tyrant Scorn the Regisaur. Although we might want to Tyrant Scorn the Regisaur next turn. I like that play. So I'll put a stop here, so we'll make sure that the trigger goes on the stack. And then we will swoop in, although I wonder if... I think we might actually just Thought Erasure them here, because we know what their hand is. We can get rid of the Regisaur Alpha. We can make them discard the land with their Regisaur. Yeah, I like that. Because we're not really attacking this turn anyways if we don't... Okay, so we rip out the Regisaur Alpha. We put a land on the bottom. No attacks. Okay, so we're going to make them discard a card. I assume they will kill our Chandra. I'll consider chump blocking. That might actually be correct. Okay, they find another Marauding Raptor. That's cool. Oh, that actually gave them... Okay, so the Marauding Raptor plus... Okay, well, we just got schooled. We're going to give them the good game. Oh, wait, actually... Maybe not. Maybe not. because we can bounce Gulta. And then at the same time... Okay, so we... yeah, so that was a huge mistake on my part. I wasn't thinking about the fact that they could get a Marauding Raptor, which would give them Gulta this turn. Okay, so we Tyrant Scorn, bounce, Gulta. I think we rolled down... I think we just want to strand... I think we just want to strand that in hand and get rid of this Rotting Regisaur. And we'll make sure that we keep black. So we'll go... Oh, we actually can't keep black. Blast. Oh, that was a big mistake on our part. I wasn't keeping track of my colors. I should have played the Steam Vents. But yeah, it's too late now. Wait, what's... Wait, can I? Oh, oops, okay. Okay, I thought I could go back there, and I actually couldn't. That was just a huge punt on my part, because I haven't gone through that sequence with Chandra before. It looked like I thought it looked like it was going to let me go back, play the land, but it was actually just the decline dialogue, and I clicked through it too quickly, so I basically targeted that and said I may cast it, and I said, no, I'm not going to cast it. So, yeah, just big mistake on my part, but that actually felt pretty okay. Like, we had some cool lines there, and I just needed to respect their top decking, something that would let them play a card they wouldn't have been able to otherwise. This also looks pretty great. Gonna keep it. I will say that most of our hands have just looked fantastic with this deck. I think we've hit back maybe one, and the rest of them have just been, like, everything that we want. Oh, nice, Side Erasure. I'll play that. So... We can kill the Spectral, or we can kill the Brineborn Cutthroat really easily. The Essence Scatter. So I think I'm actually going to take the Nightpack Ambusher here, because it's just going to be hard for us to deal with what's in hand. We can keep the land on top so we can play Chandra. If they end up having an unprotected Spectral Sailor, we could of course always... we're going to hope they didn't get a counter spell here for this. But if they did, we have another one. If they end up playing out a Spectral Sailor, we can rip both of them, which would be really cool. I like playing this rather than pumping Knight of the Ebon Legion, because this deck sometimes has bounce spells, so pumping Knight is weaker in that case. And also, we know they only had one draw there to find a negate, or you know, I don't think this deck usually plays Syncopate, but sometimes it plays Spell Pierce, things like that. So if we get a land here, we can actually Legion's End Lightning Stormkin. Yep. They of course can't buff the Brineborn Cutthroat right now because it's their turn. They didn't have an opportunity to. I guess we can just play Thief of Sanity. Or maybe we flash back this Thought Erasure. That also seems pretty good. Our Chandra's not sticking around. We could just swing with Knight of the Ebon Legion, make them throw a guy. Actually, I like this, because they'll probably block the Spectral Sailor with... so I will do this. I assume they'll block the Spectral Sailor, or the Ebon Legion with the Spectral Sailor, to avoid us getting in for all the damages. That'll let us resolve either Legion's End, another Chandra, which we probably don't want to do because we have one in play already, or Thief of Sanity. Thief of Sanity could actually be really good against this deck. Oh, okay. So then the question is, do we actually pump here? Oh, they have the Essence Scatter anyways, don't they? Yeah. I think I like the pump. I can't double spell this turn, and double spelling is our way to resolve things easily. This could be totally wrong. Again, first time playing this deck, I just built it. So if they do have unsummon, if that's their one unknown card in hand, we get super punished for this play. We still get in for 2, but... Yep, okay. Put in the Spectral Sailor, buff their guy to a 3/2, chump with the Spectral Sailor, I imagine. Oh, no. I mean, I guess there's nothing wrong about them playing it out there and then not blocking. Like, they're probably playing it out this turn anyways. Yeah. So, I'm tapped out. I guess I could have actually had a land in hand, but, you know, the odds of that that being relevant, because, you know, Shock's probably my only 1 mana removal spell, are pretty low. So notice they have 3 unknown cards in hand, and they just scry to the top with Opt. So I imagine they have something like a Frilled Mystic, and that's why they shocked on their breeding pool. Alright, so 2 at Chandra, 5 at us, we go to 11. Alright, so assuming they play in 1... Oh, we really need another land here so we can cast 2 of these spells, but unfortunate. So they can get in for 5. If they say pump this 2 times, that's 7, 8, 9. We're still alive. And they're on a really short clock here. So I think I like just swinging. I mean, we're also on a short clock, but if we make them tap out, then we have... So if they like want to flash someone in here, we can then Legions on their Brineborn Cutthroat. I think I'm going to do this because, well, they do have 2 chump blockers, so that's the issue here. I assume they have removal, but I also assume that I'm going to have to stick a removal spell in order to survive over the next couple turns. We can chump block this guy with Knight of the Ebon Legion next turn. I really should have been more mana so I could Thought Erase for them first. It's really unfortunate we don't have that. But I think I just have to run this out. Actually, no, I think I'm just going to run out the Thought Erasure. We do have a turn almost definitely. And this way we can be more likely to take out their or to take out their Brineborn Cutthroat. But yeah, 1 land off. We do have 23 lands in this deck. Okay, so it is the Nightpack Ambusher. So yeah, that's going to be... Yeah, it was Sinister Sabotage. Moo. Nope. Okay, so yeah, with the 1 extra land, we're in a really good spot here, but without the 1 extra land, they get in for 12, so that's going to do it. Oh, you know, I actually was dead, too. I miscounted there. I probably wasn't counting the extra 1 off of Brineborn Cutthroat, because I thought that we were okay if they had... what's it called? The Mystic Snake, you know, Mystic Snake 2.0, Frilled Mystic. But so that would put them on exactly having drawn the Nightpack Ambusher. But no such luck in that case. So yeah, I probably should have held back a blocker there. This is awesome. Probably going to lead on Thought Erasure into Freebooter, or if we don't see much with the Thought Erasure, then Stormkin. Alright, so we're actually going to start with Drowned Catacomb here. We have no we have no Island or Swamp, so this will come into play tapped next turn as well. Whereas next turn we can get the Mountain untapped, and then the Dragon Skull Summit untapped. We're waiting on our opponent here just to check on all of our streaming elements, make sure everything looks alright. Bump the microphone again, I apologize for that. Opponent's deep in the tank. I played a little this morning, and I think I got like 6 just burn decks back to back, so seeing no burn decks right now is nice. Getting a little variety in there. And it was right when I started playing a deck that, I don't remember which deck it was, but it was not a favorable burn matchup, that's for sure. I don't know what our opponent said. It could have been that they, you know, got up to get a sandwich or something while their queue was popping. Oh, but they kept their hand, so they knew that they knew stuff was going on here. Oh, notably, we actually can't Thought Erasure here. Huh. We had to get a come to play untapped blue or black. Alright, well, let's play Stormkin instead. Could have gone with Freebooter, but I actually like the Stormkin here, because I imagine with Untapped Mountain, they kill Freebooter, yep, they kill Freebooter in response, and then she effectively doesn't do anything. Alright, Vyashin of Pyromancer. Another Stormkin. So, I think we will do... I think we actually can do another Stormkin while we wait on getting Thought Erasure. Hopefully we get an untapped land next turn. I believe I will... They're spending removal on our creatures. I think I'm going to go in here. They're only representing 2 damage at the moment. Make sure I hit a land drop. Next turn we can double spell. If they want to burn our Stormkin, that's fine. We have another one plus a discard spell. Probably go double discard, but... Okay, light up the stage. That's a big punish for our having gone in there. Although they can usually get... by turn 3, they can almost always get damage on you anyways, because they have Chain Whirler and a bunch of burn spells. Alright, so... Land. We actually can't play these two because we don't have double blue. Weakness of our deck. But we can have a peek. We're going to take the Chain Whirler. Leave Legion's End on top. Play a Freebooter. Take their Lightning Strike. Pass it over to him. No blocks, because we're not giving them back that Lightning Strike. Especially not when we can just Legion's End them right here. So we're going to lead on this guy. Yep, we're still Legion's End mono with that. We're going to attack with a Freebooter for, I think, the first time ever, because our opponent finally doesn't have any... Oh, 3. Jeez, opponent's really flooded right now. Doesn't have any flyers in their deck, I imagine. This doesn't seem like it's the Spitfire version, although it could be. Some decks are just basically red deck wins with Spitfire. Dreadhorde Butcher here is really good, but I think I'm going to save it for next turn. Well, if they have any creature that's staying back, yeah, okay. We'll just put it in. We'll trade 1 for 1, put a damage on their face. That's relevant. Opponent's thinking about it. We know they have no burn in their hand, so I feel like they probably don't want to let this in because this guy's going to get out of control really fast, and we've represented a lot of removal. Well, okay. 2 removal spell, well, removal spell, discard spell. I believe we have no cards that draw us more cards in our deck, other than, I guess, if you count... Thief of Sanity. So I think we can sandbag the swamp safely. Alright, they light up the stage. Chain Whirler is good for them, but notably it doesn't kill either of our guys because they both have 2 toughness. Unfortunately, I can't get in for that 3rd point of damage here to pump Knight of the Ebon Legion, but Knight will just completely wall their dude here. So we're going to play that. Keep the swamp in hand. We have plenty of mana to pump, and we can't double pump. I guess I will put this into play. No, because we can double pump next turn if we play it, and we can't draw both another land and another thing that we want to play. Okay, so they find the shock. That's really good for them, because that takes this guy off the board and then lets them shock either of these guys. I hope they go for the Knight of the Ebon Legion and just don't realize that we can pump it. If they're smart, well, okay, one line for them, there's ups and downs to both of these, especially depending on what's in their hand. But they could swing, see if I pump. Yeah, okay, so I actually have to let this in here. So opponent played this very wrong. This is not, like, this is a fine thing for them to have happen, but what they should have done is wait for us to block. If we're going to block Knight of the Ebon Legion, do that. Then shock. I'm going to go in here and hope they can't deal 5 damage to us after this guy next turn. Well, actually, we probably just kill them, because they only have 1 removal spell. So we can pump if they do anything in response. We can pump again, and now it's too big. That'll do it. Give them the good game. Yeah, so they probably would have beat us there, actually, if they would have taken a different line. So say that we block... So they swing with Goblin Chain Whirler, thinking that, you know, maybe I think that they don't realize we can pump it. Then they can shock our Freebooter, get back the Lightning Strike, cast the Lightning Strike. First strike damage plus Lightning Strike damage will kill our Knight of the Ebon Legion even after the pump. And because we only had 4 lands untapped, we couldn't double pump. So the opponent probably had that one, but they just didn't see the line. And that's what we want to have happen with things like Kite Sail Freebooter, is that it screws up our opponent's sequencing and they misplay. Obviously, other nice things can happen too, like, you know, we take the relevant interaction and they can't do anything about it, and then it gets in for like 3 or 4 damage. So we saw that last time. Lack of any untapped lands sucks, but hopefully I will just find one, and that'll be great. We have more come into play untapped black lands than blue, so I want to, or the more red than blue, so I want to lead on this one. Just to hedge our bets, because I'm pretty sure I want a Thought Erasure. Duress? Okay, well you got one choice. I haven't seen a main deck Duress ever, so that's very unusual. I guess we'll play Summit. Punished for playing the Drawn Catacombs out of the Summit, because now we can't cast Shock this turn, but not super, you know, probably not going to make a difference, and also that would be the Psychic play. I don't think it would be the good play. Field and Jelly of our opponent have an untapped mana. Search for Escant. Well, no Thought Erasure to follow up, so that's cool. I think I'm actually going Freebooter here. Take a peek. I think I'm taking an Opt, honestly. They have a lot of air, and we can try to play around their Spell Pierce. So I think that just trying to reduce the quality of their card draw in the future is probably what we want to do. Augur of Bolas, of course, is going to help with that, but Kite Sail Freebooter can't take creatures, just non-creature, non-land cards. Alright, Augur finds another Opt. Well, so much for taking them off Opt. Alright, so opponent's representing Spell Pierce, and Opt here. I really like that draw. Our Dreadhorde Butcher is going to get hosed really hard by this Augur of Bolas, unfortunately, so we're going to go Stormkin. I don't think there's a Spell Pierce for creatures, so I think we're safe to resolve this. They can Syncopate for 0, which of course is even worse when your opponent has mana up. Scries to the top. Yeah, unfortunately we can only get in for 3 again here. We can't get that last point of damage in for Knight of the Ebon Legion. But hopefully starting next turn, we can do that. If we're really lucky, okay, opponent keeps on top. So they're finding really good cards here, and that's really bad news for us, because we're against Grixis again, and as we saw before, they have a huge advantage over us in the long game. So they're setting up their draws, you know, I mean, first, ripping a Thought Erasure. Ooh, Legion's End on the Freebooter. Oh, on the Freebooter. I mean, I guess they know we have another one in hand, so that's pretty good. Looks like they have removal for our, maybe a Shock or something? They're peeking at our cards here, our 2 toughness guys. Well, Opt is not Shock. Scries to the bottom. This 1/3 is running into all these dorks that are really shutting down our guys here. All the tapped lands there hurt a lot there, so we couldn't resolve our guys in time. I think we Legion's End the Augur here. Oh, but they have the Spell Pierce, so... Yeah, that's not a great line. I guess we'll go in. We will hope that maybe they block with Augur of Bolas just to fog the damage, and that'll open up the way for Dreadhorde Butcher. Cool. I will pump, hope to dodge an Unsummon, which... Okay, I'm not gonna lie, my heart stopped when they tapped that mana down there after I said fog and unsummon, or dodge and unsummon. Disguise to the top again, so they've found a lot of exactly what they're looking for, and they're about to activate as Kanta here if they go to Graveyard. Go to hand. But yeah, they're... Okay, so there's the Bolas. I assume they'll kill Knight of... nope, they're going to plus. I think I dropped the Legion's End. So we can go... We can hit them for a fair amount of damage here. Legion's End's only real target is Augur of Bolas, which often is not a 4 of. Alright, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 7, so that takes them to 4. And we have Dreadhorde Butcher backup for later. That seems pretty good, so we're going to do that. We could alternately kill Bolas, but I think we just have to kill him in the next turn or two, or we're going to lose regardless, because they've been able to refill their hand so much here. I should have checked the auto-tapper there, but it worked out. Alright, so we're just going to run out the shock right now. Buff Knight of the Ebon Legion. I imagine that Knight of the Ebon Legion gets killed by Bolas here because they're dead to it. They're also dead to Lightning Stormkin plus Dreadhorde Butcher. Ooh, Ritual of Soot. Really good for them. So then they will just plus. We will get rid of one of our lands. Probably draw on Catacombs. So Dreadhorde Butcher puts them at 1, unless they can exile it. Oh, we are getting wrecked by the jankiest here. Vicious Rumors. They're probably fine now, honestly. Yeah, I think we just got to scoop it. Boy, yeah, Duress. Actually, Duress is a pretty good card right now, honestly. I don't run up main deck, but I probably... There's a good chance that I will post-rotation once... I mean, we don't know what cards are coming in, but that's a very likely card to replace some things that are rotating out. Because it is actually pretty high value, and there's only a couple decks that are not playing many targets for it. Like, there's Jund Dinos plays... I mean, sometimes you got, like, your Collision Colossus, I believe. But it's, that one's very creature-heavy. But, I mean, the premier aggro decks in the format, Vampires and Red Deck Wins. Obviously, Red Deck Wins has tons of burn. You have another really good hand. Oh, boy. You have Vampires, which has Sorin. It's running a fair amount of removal now to hedge against the aggro mirror. So there's really not much that you would lack. Oh man, like we had it. Where you would really feel like you lacked targets for it. Of course, Balthati Erasure is in the format. That's always going to be the first discard card you want to run. Pretty much no question. We're going to let this in. We don't want to trade our Knight for a card that they can get back later. I was assuming this is Rakdos Aristocrats, but if it is, it's a Rakdos Aristocrats that's missing a land so far. So we're going to pay the 2. We're going to take a look. We're going to go to 14. Feels like Modern. Nope, Mono Black. I'm not going to lie. I really don't want to get a lot of our cards discarded, but I also don't want to have to deal with Cavalier of Night, which is going to kill one of our guys. God, actually all these cards are really good. I'll tell you what. We're going to get rid of Davriel. Next turn we can Finale of Eternity, or we can get rid of Finale of Eternity with Kitesail Freebooter. Oh no, I think we just have to... I just think we have to take the Cavalier here. I want to find a land. I'm going to get rid of the Thought Erasure, even though, as I was just saying, it's like the best card out there. Going with our 1-2. Yep, Davriel. I think we're going to get rid of Thief of Sanity here, because we're going to need a fair amount of land before we start getting that guy online, and it's a slow card. Opponent does not go in. They want to protect their Davriel, apparently. Well, I got bad news for them, because we can actually fly over the top. And do that. Which is one of the reasons I really like Lightning Stormkin right now. It gets over a gummed up board state and then kills Planeswalkers. And both of those things are really nice. Alright. Drill bit. Oh, come on. Red Horde Butcher seems like a really good take there. Although, opponent scoops. They probably just saw we had double removal spell plus rip their removal out of their hand. That might have been why they called it. All right, well, we're coming up on an hour and a quarter here, so probably going to call it pretty soon. It's getting a little towards when I would like to go to bed. So the one thing that I think we can say right now, we never saw those Bedevils, but I feel like that was a good hedge. I did feel like, even though we have this really aggressive curve, average 2.1 mana cost, 21 2-drops, it felt like we wanted a few more lands, largely because of this card. We really like having extra lands that we can activate at night. So maybe what I'll do is throw in... We really like leading with Swamp, so that we can do Knight of the Ebon Legion into, hopefully, untapped blue source for Thought Erasure. So I will add one Swamp to this list, and then we will take a look at the rest of the list and just see what we think in sum. What do you want to cut for that? I think I'll cut out this last Tyrant Scorn. It is a cool card. I don't think it's the best for us. And Kite Sail Freebooter is probably actually the weakest card here, although we did see it do a lot of work there. That 1/2 is actually surprisingly relevant when it can go over things. Terrible when opponent has Flyers or Cavalier of Thorns, heaven help you. But yeah, it seemed pretty good when it was doing its thing. And, you know, other times, you pay 2, you make them cast a removal spell on it, which is actually better than taking a removal spell out of their hand a lot of the time, because they have to spend the mana for it, in addition to losing the card. So anyway... What do we think? What do we think? Well, we can confirm that Knight of the Ebon Legion is fantastic. We saw the work that it put in there, making our opponents make bad trades, giving us outlets for our mana, being hard to remove once we get to pump levels, or we get the counters on it, threatening lethal. The Death Touch on it is actually really relevant too, if you can only pump it once to wall, like, you know, a Gulta. Gulta will still trample through, but you can still kill the Gulta at least, and hopefully it only gets, you know, 6 points through instead of 12. Because, you know, Death Touch. I think that people kind of forget about the Death Touch on that ability sometimes, because the card itself doesn't have Death Touch, so you don't get that icon when it's on the battlefield. At least I don't think you do. But anyway, Lightning Stormkin, probably another one of the weaker ones. These two cards are probably the weakest in the deck. But it was pretty good. I would say it was actually... It deserves a spot there, maybe not as a 4 of, especially because, as we saw, it can make the mana fixing a little tough, having a second, you know, having blue-red on 2 along with having blue-black on 2, and then things like, you know, black-black-red on 3, or red-red, blue-blue. So maybe we cut down the Lightning Stormkins by 1 or 2, put in some more removal, put in some more Thief of Sanity. I do like the idea of putting more Thief of Sanity in the sideboard, as we saw in matches that can go a little longer. We have, you know, 4 must-remove threats, 4 must-remove threats, 4 discard spells, 2 discard spells that are threats, 5 must-remove threats, basically. So these Thief of Sanities are likely to stick around. Less so when there's board wipes. Obviously, that's a weakness, but in more mid-rangey matchups where we can just, you know, they're out of removal after a few turns. This guy starts putting in some work, and we saw it win single-handedly in the Esper matchup when we managed to cast their Dread Horde. And totally misplay it, but whatever, never cast Dread Horde before. We're learning here. This is a learning stream, chat. We're here to learn. Yeah, so anyway, I think that maybe putting a few of these in the sideboard and these slots we opened up, that might be really good. I don't know if Negate is great for us, but because we have, 4, 7, 9 main deck peak effects, we can really easily set up for when do we want to cast this Negate? When do we want to hold it? Oh, we know that they have Nissa in hand. They have a Forest in hand. This is the turn that we want to hit that Nissa. We'll leave with the 2 mana. That would also be a reason to increase the land count a little bit, up to 24 there. Just the the ability to hold up negate more often. And also, I should point out too that even though we have a really low curve, that extra land is probably going to be really helpful in that we need to double spell. We saw that a lot in those games where if we just had that, that fourth mana or that fifth mana sometimes, so we could crank out 2 spells this turn, that is what we needed to put ourselves ahead of our opponent and close out a game. And when we were stuck there on 3, like, sure, that's enough to cast literally anything in our deck as long as we have the right colors. It's enough to pump Knight of the Ebon Legion, but sometimes you need to Thought Erasure into Stormkin, or like Thought Erasure minus Chandra, Thought Erasure again. We saw that, versus the Gulta, where we were a little stuck on lands and would have loved to have a 4th. But yeah, other than that, so the one time that we stuck Mu Yanling in the Esper matchup, I think, she actually seemed really good. Granted, that's a slow, grindy deck, so this is a good card against grindy decks, but I've had success with this card in other decks versus more faster decks. And in a deck where we have Shock your guy, Lightning Strike your guy, Thought Erasure your guy, being able to take whatever's left over, like maybe that 1-drop that's kept slipping through, make it into like a -1/1 or something like that, and then in the next turn just plop a 4/4 in front of it. That is really powerful. The -8, I think we should just ignore that for the most part. We had games there where we had like 3 islands in play, off of Steam Vents and Watery Grave, because no, this doesn't say basic island. This says island, so our dual blue lands count. As long as they have to say island here, of course, but they do in these cases. So anyway, I think we kind of ignore that and just focus on getting out, pumping out birds, pumping out bird after bird while kind of fogging their creatures. And that's been really good. I think the Bedevil is also fine, especially with the extra land. We might want to go up to a 3rd. Honestly, it's a little awkward off of Chandra, because it's a lot harder to, cast a 2-drop and then flash it. Or it's a lot harder to, Bedevil, Chandra, flashback Bedevil. That takes, like, a quarter of the mana in our entire deck to do that. Whereas, Lightning Strike into Shock or something, double Thought Erasure, we saw that be doable pretty often. So, and the last card that I think we should talk about is one that we played against. I'm going to set the filter here, and that, I bet you can guess what it is. Wait, did I do something wrong? Oh, basic land. Rotting Regisaur is not a basic land, chat, pro tip. So I don't have any Rotting Regisaur, which is why I didn't try it in this deck, because I want to keep playing with this and seeing how it goes. But I think that Rotting Regisaur would actually be really good, especially if we increase our land count up to 23, or up to 24, maybe even go up to a 25th with that card. That will decrease our threat density quite a bit, but it's really easy because we have very few reactive spells. Almost all of our spells are proactive. It's pretty easy for us to dump our hand with all these cheap spells. So we're not really losing anything off of Rotting Regisaur. In cases where we're not dumping our hand, that's probably things where a card like Legion's End isn't doing very much. So we can just, discard that, discard a Shock, discard a Thought Erasure in the late game, take those slightly more situational spells and get rid of them. Or, sometimes sandbag a land, because if the game goes to turn 5, 6, 7, we often have an extra land in our hand. And I think that just having this as another hard to remove, dodges basically all removal, it's not black or white. Hard to remove, huge, threatening creature would be really good for this deck. Notably, we can't give this evasion in any way, which a lot of decks that use Rotting Regisaur well can haste it out, like in the Jund Dinos deck, or in the blue-green decks. They can do things like the 4-mana Vivian from M20. Vivin. I am so bad at typing right now. This one, Arcbow Ranger, to just, make it a 9/8 with trample, So we can't do that in this deck, but we do have a lot of ways of removing creatures, and a lot of creatures that are just bashing over and over. So there's a good chance that our Regisaur sticks around and is able to just go to town on their face. And I mean, the 3-turn clock, that if they shock in a land and we get a burn spell or two, that this guy can kill him in 2 turns on its own, and it's going to have a lot of help with hasty creatures, creatures with reach, disruptive creatures, planeswalkers. So anyway, that's the card that I would be most likely to add to this deck. And as I play more of this, and as we play more of it together, and I gather some feedback, we will we will look at putting that in. Last thing I actually want to mention here, Moment of Craving. I feel like this figure is a better card than Moment of Craving by quite a bit, because that 1 mana is usually a lot more important than the 2 life you get off of Moment of Craving. But I will say that I was watching Todd Stevens' stream today, and I asked him about this shell, and he said that that was going to be one of the big problems with a Grixis kind of aggro beatdown plan, was you don't have consistent life gain against the aggro decks. So I think that this might actually be a good hedge there, because we already have a bunch of cheap removal. I think that, and, you know, very cheap threats we can put out. So I think that having this cost 2 is okay, and then having that way of, you know, just get that couple of life points back, you know, that's an entire hit off of a Vyashino Pyromancer, that's an entire shock, that's 2/3 of a Lightning Strike, or, you know, of a Adanto Vanguard beat. So it could be really relevant in a deck where we're able to play our cards out so quickly anyways. We didn't find any vampires there, which that is, of course, a really threatening deck. I feel like the Stormkins would help us out for getting in against Sorin, and obviously Legions, and this card is amazing against the Vampires deck because it kills most of their threats, and because they run basically all 4 ofs, anything that it hits, there's a good chance that they have multiples in play or more in their hand. So getting rid of them for that is really, really relevant. And then, of course, also, you know, having Thought Erasure, having haste creatures, and then having some evasive stuff, and a little good spot removal for their you know, 3/4s and 4/4s, which I'm not going to remember the names of right now. It's really important. So anyway, I think that's going to wrap up the stream. Thank you very much for joining us. If you want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe, click the little bell so you get the dingies when we put up new videos. We have more Magic the Gathering and other video game content here on the Tiger's Den, so keep your eyes peeled on the channel. Again, thank you very much for joining us. Let us know in the comments what you would like to see, what you'd like to see us improve, and we will see you next time.